watching News Mongolia on MNB World, and I'm your host, Jargalma Dovshinjargal. On the News Mongolia today, Day of Remembrance for the Victims of Political Repression was marked. A tribute was held to commemorate the memory of the victims of political repression. Blood and blood products are being transported to 3 hospitals by drone. For the news, stay tuned. September 10th is a day of remembrance for the Mongolian victims of political repression, an estimated 36,000 people. According to the State Commission on Rehabilitation, 32,000 victims of political repression have been rehabilitated. 2 years ago, a memorial was dedicated to the victims of political repression, including 250 prominent public figures. On the day of the remembrance, the descendants of those repressed have a tradition of honoring their memory by laying flowers at the memorial.
My grandfather was Prime Minister of Mongolia Amar-Agdambo. We will never forget those who we repressed. I hope such an event won't be repeated. That's all I want.
My great-grandfather was Samdan Jao. In 1933, he was arrested at the age of 42. He was the director of the Darnot Cooperative. He was rehabilitated in the 1970s.
In memory of the 250 public figures who were unjustly repressed, arrested, and executed by the Soviet court in the former Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic, we observe September 10th with the tradition of paying our respects. This marks the 3rd year we've honored their memory in this way.
The Great Repression was 18 months of heightened political violence and persecution in the Mongolian People's Republic between 1937 and 1939. The repressions were an extension of the Stalinist purge, also known as the Great Purge, unfolding across the Soviet Union around the same time. Estimates differ, but anywhere between 20,000 and 35,000 so-called enemies of the revolution were executed, a figure representing 3 to 5% of Mongolia's population at the time. Victims included Buddhist clergy, aristocrats, intelligentsia, political dissidents, and ethnic Buryats. In 1996, Parliament designated September 10th of each year as the day of paying tribute to the memory of victims of political repression throughout the country. Studies estimate that more than 100,000 people were repressed in false political cases. To date, 31,635 civil cases have been acquitted. Yesterday, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Puruvdarj, paid tribute by laying wreaths at the monument dedicated to the victims of political repression.
During those dark years, 1 out of every 3 Mongolian families faced political repression. Unfortunately, a full acquittal for all victims still remains impossible at present, as many cannot be exonerated due to a lack of necessary documentation. The political repression in Mongolia can be broken down by 4 distinct characteristics. Genocide. It involves the systematic extermination of people in certain regions. Ethnocide, or the deliberate elimination of ethnic groups through the eradication of their language, culture, and identity. Politicide, or the targeting and elimination of political opponents to consolidate power. Democide, or the state-sponsored killing and repression of its citizens, including attacks on the Mongolian motherland. This repression not only led to the loss of countless lives, but also destroyed the Mongolian script, dismantling of religion, and the eradication of traditional customs and culture. It's crucial to show and present the full scope of this repression to the public. People must understand that this was an assault on the entire Mongolian nation, not just isolated groups of individuals. The State Commission for Reparations is leading efforts to unearth and bring these events to light. However, accurate information about the exact number of people repressed during this period remains unclear. We are committed and will leave no stone unturned to uncover the full truth and ensure all victims receive justice and acquittal. So far, only 6 more people have been acquitted this year, and progress has been slow due to ongoing issues with incomplete documentation. The larger issue, however, is that we have not fully learned the lesson from the past. Repression, in various forms, continues even today. People often act out of self-interest for personal gain, while violations of human rights and freedoms persist, often hidden from the public view. This is why we are committed to working tirelessly to end these repressive practices and ensure the protection of human rights and freedom for all. Since 1953, those repressed have been acquitted by state courts based on congressional resolutions. However, this process has not yet achieved its goal, as Buddhist monks were not included in the acquittals. Beginning in 1990, efforts to exonerate the victims intensified. To date, more than 31,600 people across Mongolia have been acquitted. In 2018, the law concerning the acquittal and compensation of victims of wrongful political cases was amended, increasing the amount of compensation provided. This law extends compensation not only to the victims, but also to their children born into families affected by the repression. As of January 2024, approximately 100 billion MNT in compensation has been paid. Currently, our contractors are working with the special archives of the General Intelligence Agency of Mongolia, with about 600 cases currently being actively investigated. Initially, there was a provision stipulating that citizen applications for exoneration would be accepted only until 2020, with any applications submitted after that date being rejected. However, this provision was repealed by the revision of the law approved in June 2024. The updated law now includes provisions for accepting complaints without any further delay. One of the main challenges we face is that we have not yet completed studying all the archives from both provincial and state resources. Many of the old documents are written in Mongolian script, contain changed names, or involve individuals who have been adopted by other families. As we address these issues, we will be able to determine a more accurate number of affected individuals. Therefore, it's crucial to finalize the reviews of provincial archives. Research and analysis will be ongoing to address these challenges.
To overcome traffic delays, Mongolia has begun transporting blood and blood products via drones, a method widely used internationally. Since last year, 3 hospitals in Ulaanbaatar have received approval for drone deliveries, with over 60 successful shipments made to date. This initiative aims to improve the speed and efficiency of life-saving medical supply deliveries.
Transporting blood and blood products via drone is the most efficient method during heavy traffic. This practice is already part of daily operations in many countries. In our country, the project to transport blood and blood products by drone began last year. Since then, permission has been granted to transport blood to 3 hospitals: the National Center for Maternal and Child Health, the Amaglı Maternity Hospital, and the Mongolian Japanese Hospital of the Mongolian National University of Medical Sciences. To date, a total of 60 deliveries of blood and blood products have been made. Drone transportation is regulated by specific rules. We must obtain permits under the regulations issued by the Civil Aviation Authority. This is a process that requires precise details. Given Mongolia's unique features such as altitude, wind, and air pressure, it takes time to fully study the feasibility of transporting blood products by drone. Currently, it is not possible to transport blood by drone to hospitals other than these 3, even in life-threatening emergencies. The single drone we are using can carry up to 5 kilograms, which is equivalent to 15 units of blood and blood products. It can travel at a speed of 36 kilometers per hour and reach its destination within 10 minutes. The third state central hospital has a high demand for blood products. Our team is focusing on increasing deliveries to these high-need locations. Currently, studies and assessments are being conducted to evaluate the economic viability and the tangible positive impact of the project. In recent years, the number of blood donors has been steadily increasing. However, in cases where a person with a rare blood type, which accounts for only 0.1% of the population, requires urgent surgery, there are challenges with blood supply. This issue is typically resolved by contacting regular donors. Although the current blood supply is at a normal level, there is a growing need to expand drone blood transportation to more hospitals.
Now let's take a look at Mongolian current affairs.
On September 6, the Speaker of State Parliament Amar Baysatlan received Zafer Atesh, the Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Turkey to Mongolia. Speaker expressed his satisfaction with the active and broad relationship between Mongolia and the Republic of Turkey. He emphasized that the cooperation between the legislative bodies of the two countries plays a key role in their relations. He also noted his satisfaction with the ongoing collaboration between the parliaments, including the regular exchange of visits between the heads and members of both legislative bodies. Moreover, he expressed confidence that there will be further opportunities for growth as trade between the two nations has reached the $100 million mark. Ambassador Atesh stated that Turkey, which shares a close brotherly bond with Mongolia, is eager to expand its cooperation in all sectors and will focus on strengthening the relationship between the legislative bodies of both countries. He also highlighted Turkey's readiness to increase cooperation in agriculture and livestock sectors, as well as to implement mutually beneficial projects and programs. This year marks the 55th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Mongolia and the Republic of Turkey, according to the press office of the state parliament. According to the Montsama News Agency, the Standing Committee on the Budget of the State Parliament will be discussing the draft budget for next year, including public feedback. The government is legally required to submit a draft budget for each year to the State Parliament by September the 1st. Following this, the government has already submitted the 2025 draft budget. It has been posted on the Parliament website where every citizen can submit their feedback. The 2024 autumn session of the State Parliament, as stipulated by the law on the State Parliament, will commence on October 1st, and this draft budget is scheduled to be discussed during that session.
Thank you for staying with us. Now let's take a look at currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Alright, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Goodbye.